thrilled to welcome everyone to this month's edition of Career Advice from the Pros. This is one of my favorite webinar series that we do, where we bring in members of photo managers and kind of have a nice conversation about their career and kind of their path to become a photo manager and things they love about their job, and also a few things that they find challenging about their job, in order just to provide some perspective to our other members and also folks who are just thinking about photo organizing as a business. So we open these up to non-members as well. So there's definitely folks on this call who haven't joined the photo managers. We'd love to welcome you into our fantastic community, but happy to provide this kind of access to members and just give you a sense of what the journey is like and what the possibilities are for all the different kinds of angles you can take for a photo organizing career. So I am thrilled today to welcome Kimberly Melton. She is the founder and owner of Visual Story Media, and she's based in Charlotte, North Carolina. And she'll give a little background about herself, but she is one of the most engaging, outgoing, excited people. Every time I talk to you, I just get such a huge you're so motivated and excited just because your energy is awesome. And we were just talking about how I'm such an introvert and she's such an extrovert, so it's a nice combo when we get together. It's some good energy happening there. So I was really looking forward to our conversation today. And so I have a few questions I'm going to run through with Kimberly, but the real benefit to these is that she is going to take your questions. And so please put them in the chat as we go along, and we will get to them. As she was saying to me earlier, she wants to answer your questions, not just, kind of the ones that I run through. So we'll do a little background and some things about her business, but the real benefit to this is that we'll open it up to your questions. So we will get right to it here. Let's see. I just want to get to my list of questions here. Yeah, so really just, Kimberly, tell us about your background, how you got interested in photo organizing, kind of how you found the photo managers, and how long you've been a member.
So how I found out about the photo managers, because it's the biggest secret in the whole world that there is even photo managers, is I heard Kathy talk on a seminar that I was invited to. And I thought, wow, that sounds really interesting, because I have a project management background. And I was like, and I had something else going on. And I thought, put that in the back window. Heard her speech, really loved it. And then the thing I was working on didn't pan out. And I thought, well, there was a reason why I saw this, so I'm going to explore it. And I spent about 2 weeks. I'm a super researcher, so I literally spent 2 weeks researching and understanding. And then Kathy will tell you this, that I made an appointment with her and interviewed her.
Yeah.
And ask her a ton of questions like, and what do you see as the positives, and how do people fail, and what do people, all this stuff. I mean, we spent an hour asking her questions, and she said, you're fine, don't worry about it, you got this. But I really wanted to make sure that I understood it and could, and it would meld with the background that I had. So I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I was born, raised, bred, stayed here. Don't believe in going above the Macy-Dixie except for vacations or when I visit family in Canada, because my husband's Canadian. So you can imagine, Southern girl, Canada. What got me interested was the stories. And that's really what I love, is helping people understand, helping people find their stories. You've got this slides locked in a box in the back of the closet you didn't know your mother-in-law had, and all of a sudden, we've got hidden gems in there. So to be able to really help people do that and bring that to light, and that's really my love, is helping people tell their stories.
So how did you talked to Kathy, who's our founder, Kathy Nelson, the founder and CEO of the Photo Managers, and did you have a business in mind already, or she kind of gave you the kind of green light to say, yeah, all right, I'm doing this? And so how did you start Visual Story Media?
Well, I started researching last July, actually. So I haven't really been a photo manager per se that long. And when I did the research and I figured out what you needed and I figured out a bunch of stuff and I went to the website and looked at everything, excuse me, and then interviewed her, I was like, this is project management, this is talking to people, this is marketing. And I also have a background in marketing, so that kind of helped. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And the technology part didn't scare me. In fact, one of my, the things I try to follow is I heard a report in July of last year when I was starting, and this lady said in this story that I read, never retire. And she said, the reason why you don't retire is because you, when you are exposed to new things and difficult things, you create synapses that help keep your brain supple, and you're younger longer, and you make those connections. And, especially if it's hard and you have to figure it out and all this kind of stuff. And so that's kind of been my motto ever since, because there's some challenging times of trying to figure things out, and you say, oh, can I really do this? Or I don't know how to do this. And I keep thinking, but it's hard things. And so that means that that I'm creating synapses, and that's a good thing. So it's tough, but I'm gonna because as a photo manager, you don't know sometimes what you're gonna do. Like, I got a call from client, I have 100 and slide negatives. Can you do those? And I said, oh, sure, absolutely. I had no idea. None. Didn't know what I was doing, but I said yes. And I figured it out because I have this great team with the photo managers that I can go on and say, how do you do slides?
Right.
Or how do you do negatives? Or how do you do, and this is my cat, by the way.
Yep. Making an appearance again.
Yeah,
absolutely. Did you ever started a business before, or had your own business, or had you always worked in kind of corporate 9-to-5 type jobs?
I help businesses start their business. So, or I help run the business and kept the systems and procedures alive. So, and then I've also been on the marketing side. So that was fun. That's left brain, right brain. And so it's really understanding how to promote your business.
And what state were your personal kind of family photos in when you started as a photo manager?
Let me tell you a secret. Ain't no photo manager got their stuff together. Right. It's not gonna happen. We have time. We're working on everybody else's stuff. So.
Right. It's very true.
I'm the keeper of my history with my family.
Yeah,
so
we hear that
have
so much.
Inherited my mother's stuff, my grandmother's stuff, and my father's stuff.
Yeah.
And my aunt's stuff. So, and there's 11 in my generation, and I'm the only girl, and none of the guys are interested at all. So I'm the one that they come to. In fact, my cousin called me last night. Can you please send me a picture of Anthony when he was in high school? Yes, I can. So I went and got it for him. But it's that kind of thing, where you slowly and surely, it's like one of those things. I want to take like 2 days this vacation and walk into my office and do my stuff. That's going to be one of my treats to myself.
That's nice. That's nice. Absolutely. A lot of folks, kind of start out with their own photos. We've heard, and because it's obviously it's a project that's right there, and it gets you some practice with workflows or what software you might use or things. But you very quickly people learn that your photos just go to the wayside.
It's a lot harder to do your stuff than somebody else's.
And that's true. That's also true. Yeah, since you're so connected to it, right?
You start going down that path. Oh, I remember. No, you don't want to do
it. So tell me one thing that you love, or if one or two things that you love most about this photo organizing as a career.
I know I said it before, but it's really helping people when they're in chaos or they don't know what to do, because organizing your photos sounds like it's really easy. I'll just take a little bit of time. I'll have this organized. And it isn't that easy. It's not easy. It's a definite method and systems and procedures of how you do it so you can gain what you need to gain. Or sometimes the person might be in chaos. Like, I had a client who I've worked with before call me on a Saturday afternoon and said, I need your help. And he had that voice that something's wrong. And I said, Andy, what do you need? And he said, my father just passed away, and I'm in Charlotte. He was in Charlotte. His family is in Virginia. And he said, I want to create a book, and I also need to do a slideshow for the funeral. And I have some printed pictures and I have some digital, and I don't know what to do. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. And I said, everything we needed to do. He was coming home on Monday. I picked up his photos from him Monday, his physical photos that he needed back in time for the funeral the next weekend. I digitized everything. I set him up a folder to upload all his his already digitized photos. In the meantime, I'm a Forever ambassador, and I set him up a Forever book. I met him on Thursday, gave him the photos, and gave him a link to the newly created book. So sometime that weekend, when he was calm, he could sit down with his mom, and they could, because I knew some of the pictures might need to be changed around.
Yeah.
So he calls me on Monday. We Zoom together, change a few pictures that needed to be changed. So by that next Sunday, he had his book done. He was able to order 7 copies for his family. And so Monday night, I know I read my email before I go to bed. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do. And he sent me this thank you note that I still have. And he said, you helped me heal this process of looking at these pictures and going through my father's life and going through these pictures. And you just knew how to do everything. Like, I didn't have to worry about doing it. I could just reap the benefits. He said, you've helped me and you've helped my family heal. And I just can't thank you enough. And that is being a photo manager.
That's a perfect story. Absolutely encompasses the impact that we have on people, and certainly in tough times like that, but also with kind of joyful times, celebrations, or also just regular kind of just having your everyday photos back in your life too. So it really runs the gamut, but having people reconnect with photos, that they were afraid they were going to lose, or that they haven't seen, or that they want to kind of, bring the family together. It's so impactful. That's great.
Absolutely.
That actually kind of takes me to a little sidebar about your business again. So that was a very fast project. It seems like, very quick turnaround for kind of those situations. Is that common for you, or do you have a kind of a niche for with larger projects or longer term projects? What have you found works for you with visual story?
For me, it's a little bit of everything. It's pretty rare to have a quick turnaround like that, because most people have had their stuff in boxes forever. And so it's not really something that they need super quickly. So that's kind of fortunate, because I had a client and I called them and said, okay, I need to stop working on your pictures because this situation. They were like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So that really that's not an issue, but I do a little bit of everything. But that works for me. So, one of the things I can say to everybody is, one of the challenges in being a photo manager is finding what you like and what you don't like, and don't do what you don't like. And no one should tell you you should do that. I mean, everybody can have a thing that they do and that they like, and nothing's wrong and nothing's right. It's just what's best for you moving into what you're doing.
It's a great segue. So what don't you like to do?
I hate paperwork. But I do it. What is it called? I feed the frog, and on Monday mornings, I do all my paperwork and I get all my ducks in a row, because I have it done and I don't need to worry about it for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. There definitely is paperwork with a business. Are there services you don't offer that you outsource, or do you kind of deal with whatever comes in through the door?
I do about everything. The only thing I don't do is 8mm, but I have a partner that does that. So I tag team with them. Other than that, I do about everything.
Yeah. What in terms of equipment, kind of what did you have anything when you started, or did you invest in a scanner kind of right off the bat? How did that go for you?
Well, not sure that it was actually going to take place. I'm not sure this photo manager thing was actually going to work out. I said, well, I could buy a scanner and I could buy a camera. And if this doesn't work out, what's going to do me the best job? The camera, because I can always take pictures. So I camera scan.
Gotcha. So you started off camera scanning. You didn't get a flatbed scanner or anything. You started off camera scanning.
I started off camera scanning. And the first job I had a couple thousand pictures to scan. And but I that was right for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
If you
Not
want
for
to
everybody,
scan,
but
if you want to scan, that's fine. If you want a camera scan, that's fine. There's,
mhm.
it's just
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
I just picked that and thought, well, I can always use a camera. So
Yeah, that works. That works. Let's talk about your clients. Do you have a ideal client, and how did you kind of go about A, figuring that out, and then B, starting to get them?
Um, so I think it's important whenever you start a business, you should make sure that you know in your head who your client is. Like you should know where they shop. And it's a marketing thing, but it really does work. Like, where do they go to church? Could you hook in with that? What are their likes? Are they Talbots or are they TJ Maxx or are they both? I mean, if you shop, then you know what I'm talking about with the two different varieties. So I created two personas. One, her name is Phyllis, and she's about 55, 60. So she's sandwiched. Her parents are still alive, but her kids are grown or, in their 20s. And so she's got both. She's got digital and she's got the assets of her parents and she's got her own older assets. So she's got to balance all that. And she works full time. And so she doesn't have time to do it, but she wants it. Like they all want it, but they don't know how because they don't know we exist. It's one of the challenges we have as photo managers. So I help her and all that she needs. So I'm a one-stop shop. You can come and I do everything. Now, did I know everything when I started? Oh, no, absolutely not. And then there's Casey, and she's 20, and she's got two kids, and she's a busy person. She's got a full-time job, but she hasn't made a baby book, and she feels super guilty about it. So I help her digitize. I teach the word delete is a huge word in my vocabulary. Delete, God, for bloody, just please delete your stuff that you don't need. But they don't understand how, and they're scared something's going to happen. So I help them lose the fear of deletion.
That's important.
So
Very
those are
important.
my two people.
And how did you start? Who was your first client? How did you start getting clients?
I have a friend who wanted to digitize some stuff. I knew she did not have the funds to do it. And so I charged her nothing, but she knew, and she knew I wasn't, although I didn't say that, but she kind of and she just said, whatever you want to do. And so I came over, I worked on her computer, I pulled her pictures from there. She had about 22,000 pictures when I started, and she had 12 after I deleted.
That's great. Yeah. That's much more manageable.
Oh yeah. And then I always try to do a little personal thing. So there was this one picture of her dad that was, super small, like a little portrait thing, but it was fabulous. He was like leaning on a car. It was 1950s and it had scratches and all this stuff in it. And I cleaned up the picture and I reproduced it and then put it in a frame of 5x7. And so when I delivered her stuff, and, communication is huge and thanking people is huge. And so I, afterwards I said, oh, I have a little gift for you. And I gave her that and she just bawled. And I was like, oh,
That's great.
It's little stuff like that help you touch your clients. You don't have to spend a lot of money touching,
Absolutely.
It's the little things.
And that makes it so memorable. And that's what they talk about. And for so many photo managers, word of mouth is the best referral source or the best way to get clients, because you've done something amazing for people and they'll talk about it because they're so thrilled to have this, these photos back and the little personal touches that you provide. It makes it very easy to kind of promote that, for you. So,
well, there's another reason. When you see people's photographs of the morning of Christmas, or the birth of their child, or the child's first birthday, I don't know how much more personal than you can get. That is like, some of these pictures sometimes, I've seen pictures that's made me cry, and you can't get more personal than that. So you're handing people that you don't know these you couldn't even pay for these. I mean, they're priceless gifts of these photos, and you've got to be able to trust them. And so by word of mouth,
Yeah.
if Mary is happy and you've made Mary happy, then, oh, well, I can trust you too. Or if I heard about you through Levine's Jewish Community Center because you did a bunch of workshops for them, well, if Levine hired you, then you got to be reputable. You've got to be somebody that they trust. So now I can trust you. So that's another point, is that communication and that trust.
Absolutely. And you've also done some connecting kind of on in the business community in Charlotte. And you want to talk about the presentation? I think you've done at least one to your local chamber, or was it a women's business association? I forget who you presented to a few months ago.
Networking is huge. And I know we're probably going to talk about this later, but I'm doing a learning lab, and networking is part of what I'm going to teach in the learning lab. So networking provides that opportunity to get the word out to a lot of people at one time. Now, they may not hire you, but they go, oh, you know what? I saw this woman who was in NABO, the National Association of Women Business Owners. National Association of Women Business Owners. If you've got one, tout out for NABO. I love NABO. But anyway, and I saw this woman and she gave this speech at NABO. It's really cool. And, so those kinds of networking opportunities that you can get. I've also done things at for the library. Now, it took a lot. I had to sign all these papers and prove that I did this and prove that I did that and that I was reputable and all that kind of stuff. But once you finally jump through the hoops, do that. So anytime you can get out there and talk to people about what you do and find a niche, then you got to take that opportunity.
Right. And pretty soon you're just kind of known as, oh yeah, that lady who does the photo stuff. Yeah. Absolutely. So I know you'll talk about this kind of in terms of your learning lab too, which we'll get to in a little bit, but what advice do you have for people who are thinking about this as a business, or just starting out, have joined and are, have a business and are just starting? What are some things you'd want to advise?
I've thought a lot about that since we started talking about, whether we're going to do this or not. I mean, that we were going to do this, and what would I like to talk about? I think it's that it's okay to be uncomfortable. That's the number one thing. We want, a lot of times, if we're really like, let's say we're a chef, and that's what we train for, and we're a chef, and I mean, we know how to cook, we know how to use our knives, we know how to do whatever we're doing. That, and you feel real comfortable in your element, or you're a bookkeeper, or you're a whatever it is. You feel very comfortable because you're in your element. Photo manager, not so much. You got to jump off the ledge. You got to just say, like I said in that little story about creating synapses, I'm going to create synapses, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but my brain is going to be better afterwards, because you're going to run into situations where clients ask you a question. But one of the super things about this organization is the willingness of anybody and everybody to help you. I mean, seriously, when I was doing the learning lab, and I'm doing the outline for the learning lab, I put on, one of the pages I belong to, hey, what advice do you have that now that you wished you'd known when you first started out? And these are experienced photo managers. And it was amazing, almost the same thing from everybody. So it's really just getting out there, finding what you like to do, finding the way you like to do it, taking classes when you can, and just getting out there and have fun with it. So you're uncomfortable. So the woman calls you and asks you to do all these negatives, and you've never done a negative before. Oh, well, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your kind of outlook for the future? What do you see for photo organizing kind of as an industry and the potential for it?
The potential is limitless, literally. Again, I know I keep saying this, but no one knows we exist, right? So it's getting out there, it's talking about the fact that you can do this. It's doing what you like, doing the thing that you like to do. I like to discover stuff. I like to figure out how to do the thing that I haven't done before. I like that. That's, for me, that's fun. So, and it's really like, I met with a client this morning, and he found his father's scrapbook that he did after World War II. And he has all these photos and stuff. And so he said, what do I do with this? And I was like, well, we could do this, and we could do this, and we could make this, and we could do this. And he was like, whoa, he goes, that's fabulous. And I'll meet with my brothers and we'll do this. And I said, well, it'll take you a while. I mean, you know, and it's brainstorming with the client and helping them understand the possibilities. I mean, helping them understand, like, he might have thought it was a really ugly album, you know, because his dad did it. It was like one of those with the glue, and it was, you know, and I was like, oh, no, we're not going to take a picture of that. We're going to take the pictures out, and we're going to do this, and we could do this and this. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's great. Now we could do this. And I was like, yeah, you can, but, you know, you can write a story and put text in it because you remember the story about that picture. He goes, oh, I can do that. I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, you know, so it was, you know, he was super excited when he left because he then understood the possibilities. It opened up. So it was, he had borrowed the album from someone else in the family because that person had been gifted the album, but he wanted a copy. And I said, oh, we're going to make you copies and all your kids' copies. Like, this is not going to be the only one. He was like, wow, really? We can do that? Sure. So it made him happy.
It is great. It's really, really something to kind of open people's open their eyes to how creative we can get and all the options that exist for, you know, both physical products for their photos and, you know, for online sharing capabilities. It's a kind of endless possibilities, which is often a reason people get so stuck because there's so many choices. But
yeah, absolutely.
It is a challenge for the photo manager side of things to figure out, you know, you can't overwhelm a client with, you know, kind of too many choices, but so how do you kind of pick, you know, what the, you know, best things to offer them are. So, and it's just a matter of getting to know them and understanding kind of their tech level and their, you know, their budget and things like that. But yeah. That's great. So let's talk about your learning lab. I don't want to turn this into like a huge sales pitch for our annual conference or the learning labs, but since we have you here and you have such a great perspective kind of on starting a business and you've kind of given advice to folks on our Facebook page about this and also kind of other formats, you're just a really great resource, I think, for folks who are just starting out. And so we asked you to teach a learning lab, which is a 4-hour workshop that takes place before our annual conference. And so yours is going to be on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon in February. I have a slide that I can put up with all the details kind of at the end, but this is a real chance to just go through all the elements, the important elements of starting a business and kind of growing your confidence, getting the word out about what you do, figuring out what you want to do. And you have a great name for it. So if you could just share a little bit about kind of how this learning lab came about and what your kind of your goal is for it, that would be great.
Well, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. The learning lab, I have to read it because it's complicated, but it's fun.
It's a long title.
I started my business. Now I need help running my business because starting a business is easy. Oh, I have a camera. I'm going to take a couple pictures. It's going to be great. Yeah.
Right. Pick the name. Right. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. We got it. We got a camera. That's all you need. But it's really so much more than that. So on a basic level, what we're going to talk about is 3 major things. We're going to have breakout sessions so you can talk to other people about it because much like this, please put your questions in the chat room because I can go on forever, but I want to answer the questions that you have. But the 3 main things we're going to go over is goal setting, how you do that, why you do that, what ways that you can do that. And really that will help you understand the bigger picture in your business. Marketing and branding. How do you market yourself? How do you brand yourself? What does branding even mean? And then also networking, where, when, and how. How do you network? And we discussed before, introvert, extrovert. How do you do it? Because you have to do it 2 different ways, because you have to feel comfortable. So, and how you do that, how you create that. So my goal is, and our goal is that after you take this class, you'll have the fundamentals to be able to then understand more that it's more than the camera. The camera's important, absolutely, but the back end is just as important. And so that will help you move and be able to elevate both those levels so that you can have a successful business.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are, again, a 4-hour workshops that we're running before our annual conference. They're all virtual, even though our conference is going to be kind of two parts. We have a in-person conference in Denver in March and April. We are running it virtually, but these learning labs are actually standalone. So if you wanted to purchase a learning lab without purchasing conference registration, that's totally fine. I will, since we are 15 days away from the end of the month, I will mention that the early bird pricing for these is $125 for members, $175 for non-members, and that ends 12/31, and then it goes up $50, if not more, I think. So just a little plug for the Learning Lab there, since we have you here. So we're going to take questions now. So if you've got questions for Kimberly, let's throw them in the chat. Lisa's got one asking about what business management software do you use?
So I use ClickUp. I am a huge fan. It's free. I'm all about the free too, but it is fabulous. It's much bigger than any of us will ever need, ever. Right. There's no way that we could use all the tools. But I also happen to be in a master's, or took a master's class, and we all had different segments that we researched, and one of the groups presented that ClickUp was what they recommended, and we all have embraced it, and I love it. And we're actually going to talk about ClickUp in the Learning Lab. So it has everything: CRM, marketing, to-dos, goals. I have it all in there, all of it, and it's free, and there's great videos.
Mm-hmm. Some of the other systems that folks use, Dubsado and 17 Hats, are kind of more, I'd say, workflow centered CRM business management systems. I'm just going to throw that out there. There are two other great options. But ClickUp, we actually use ClickUp at the photo managers. I know a lot of other folks use it too. And one of the great things we started this year was kind of hosting discussion groups among members about different resources. And we kind of debuted this with a ClickUp. And so we had a discussion group. People could just join in the conversation about how they were using ClickUp and questions about it. And we'll definitely be continuing that into next year with different resources. So stay tuned for more on that.
So Marissa has asked an interesting question.
Yeah.
So I'll say the questions. How many hours a day do you work? Depends on the day, completely. There's multiple things. You know, if you want to be full-time, you can work. I mean, I could work morning till night, like with what I do. But I try to keep it reasonable, 40 to 50 hours a week. But that's me, because I want to work full-time. Do you work from home? Oh, absolutely. I like my house. And can you pretty much work from anywhere? Depends on the project that you're working on. I have a camera scanning, and I have 5 computers, 4 different video cameras. It depends on what it is. If I've already scanned and I'm just doing the Lightroom stuff, I can do that anywhere. But so it depends on the project that you're working on. And what kind of income can a photo manager make? Well, I will never be a millionaire. That's for sure. But it depends on what segment you want to work in, how many hours. You might want flexible hours and don't want to work full time. It just depends on multiple factors. And let's see what else. Have you ever been asked to do something that you weren't able to do? Nope. I think I've done it all, because I have this incredible organization that I can go to. If I don't know how to do it, I can ask somebody. So that's.
Can I just jump in? And I want to just a little PS to Marissa's question there. So you don't need 5 computers to start. Stop freaking people out here, Kimberly.
No, I told everybody if they didn't want their old computer to give it to me. So they have. So now I have old equipment, which I want, because there's programs on older equipment that I can use that's much easier to use. So people are willing to give you their old stuff because they want it to be used. So I say, oh, I promise to use it. If you'll just give it to me, then that's great. So I have people have given me all kinds of computers. I haven't bought any computers.
Right. But you just need one to start. Like, I just want to make that clear. Yeah.
That's the one I started with.
Right.
But I got the rest of them.
Yeah.
from people
No,
giving them
perfect.
to you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, thank you
absolutely.
for that clarification. No, I did not buy 5 computers. Oh my gosh, no.
And the other thing I want to say is that working from home is, I mean, for the most part, you have to go meet clients usually at their home. Sometimes people bring you things, but there's definitely have to usually a transfer of the photos. I would say less common is people going to work at a client's house. Sometimes that happens, depends on the client's comfort level with things leaving. You can certainly bring a computer and a scanner to their house, but it's a kind of a big imposition. And most people like to bring clients photos and bins of things back to their kind of home office, whether it's a guest room or part of a basement. Or I mean, people really make this happen kind of in all places. But I would say mostly people are bringing things back to do the sorting and do the working on them. And then if you've got client questions, you certainly can connect with them over Zoom and talk through things. But you're rarely, I would say, are people working for any length of time at a client's house. Have you found that?
There's not enough room. I mean,
Yeah.
when the client I'm working right now had 11 photo albums. I had to take all the photo albums apart, scan all that. But I mean, it's too much. Now the gathering, you could go to somebody's house, or like the client I met this morning, I met him in Panera Bread because it was halfway between our house, and it was a beautiful day, and we just sat outside and had a lovely conversation. So every client might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And certainly going to someone's house to help them gather things, help them maybe download some things off an old computer. That's, spend a couple hours together. That's a very common first thing. But again, bringing things back is kind of the way most people work. And then in terms of income, I would say it also just depends on your location. We often tell people to kind of research what other professional services are charging in your area. So, potentially CPAs, kind of therapists, dietitians, personal trainers. I'm blanking, but you can kind of name those kind of professional service, residential organizers. So their hourly charge is probably kind of about what your market could handle. And even though you may feel like you're starting from scratch and don't know anything, don't charge a lower price because you think that because you don't know anything. Because if you join the photo managers, you've got this huge resource behind you and training behind you, and you can find things out, and you're already one step ahead of most of your clients. And so there's no need to charge, oh, I just started, I'm only going to charge $40 an hour. So that's, we talk a lot about pricing at different points during our events and things and our training, and you may touch on it in your learning lab, but just it's important to know that it does vary on where you live and what services you offer and what your target kind of client is, but it's absolutely possible to make a living. But yes, you're not going to be a millionaire.
No, I'm not going to be a millionaire. I don't want to be a millionaire. Well, maybe I do, but no. And the other point, at least with my brain, what I think about is, would a plumber do it? Would a plumber go into your house and fix your sink and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to give you a discount because you really need it? No, the plumber's going to charge you whatever the plumber charges you. So why should I be any different?
No, absolutely. Looks like a couple of questions about invoicing and kind of.
It comes off the question, do you use your business management software? Can you send agreements, invoices, and emails with all of them? Not an email with ClickUp. I have Outlook that I use for my email system. And then the ClickUp is my project management and my business management. It does everything. So I schedule my goals. I have my clients, my potential, past, present. I have my marketing calendar, my ideas for marketing calendar, so I can rev that up and move that over. And then I happen to have Outlook as my email.
Yeah, there are some systems, Dubsado and like 17 Hats, and you can actually, they connect with your email system, and so you send emails through those, and invoices and proposals and things through those systems. But certainly you can use ClickUp and find ways to work around that, and invoice through PayPal or whoever you decide to use as a payment processor. So there's lots of, you don't have to, there's all-in-one options, but there's also ways to do it with a couple different systems. Yeah. Yep. Oh, Marissa's got another great question about how many projects you have going at one time.
That's it's a hard question because it depends on the project. For instance, I have a very large project. And again, remember, most of our projects are not like, people don't need them right away, right? So that kind of helps a little bit. So right now, let's see, I just scanned or just transferred, or had my partner transfer 22 different 8mm videos to YouTube. I created a private channel for her and put all her videos on there so she could share it with her cousins. I am at the last part of a 12 album project, and I hope to have it done by Friday. I have 4 projects in the wings that they know I'm going to start in January. And I'm missing. Oh, and then someone out of the blue called me yesterday and has a wallet size photo that they want scanned and colorized. And could I please do that by Christmas? And I said, if you pay me enough, I will. No, I didn't say that. But I said, absolutely, I can do that to you. But he's paying me enough to be able. Today, I picked him up, but he has another project he wants me to work on. So sometimes you give and take, and you judge. If I give a little now, I might, be able to get a little later in another way. So I'm going to do that. So it's a balance of understanding the possibilities.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not worth it to take on a project to scan one photo, get it from the client, deliver it. Right. But if you feel like there maybe is, potential for some more, or, it makes sense. It's totally, it all depends.
Absolutely. So you kind of give and take. So, but there was a time when I was working on a project that had 372 items in it. So that was CDs, DVDs, zip drives, thumb drives, VHS tapes, cassette tapes. 372 items that they wanted transferred over. And some of them were, I know some of y'all may not, but some of them were VOB files that I had to combine. I mean, blah, 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 blah. I knew none of this before I started. So, and so I didn't take any projects because it took me 4 months to do him.
Just that one. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Another great question about getting help and when it's time to potentially hire somebody.
I've had employees before.
At least that's what I've said, right? You're like, I'm done.
I've managed, hundreds of people, and I have some high schoolers in the wing that I trust and that will be right beside me when they're doing their stuff, and I could do that. But at this point right now, I just schedule myself to the point where I can handle it myself, and people are willing to do that. So
yeah, absolutely. But there certainly are folks who have employees,
absolutely, and it's
have
great
people,
if you want to. No problem. I mean, you should.
Yep. Chantel's got a good question here about classes. Is that part of your repertoire?
Yes, and I've done DIY classes again by giving away a little bit at the beginning, like you're doing a DIY do-it-yourself class for people. Then you get the word out that you can do this. You're giving them a little bit of information. You're kind of helping them answer their questions, etc. And then you get potential clients from doing that. So I've done those DIY classes, and I've done them online. I've also done DIY classes for financial planners.
Oh, that's a great way to kind of partner with somebody who's got potentially great clients for you.
Because financial planners want to help their clients in all ways. And so this is one of the ways that they can help them. And so I've done a couple of those classes.
So you're just offering information. So they're not, the financial planner is not charging his clients, nor probably charging you. And then when you do those DIY classes, as people aren't paying for those either, that's again just kind of you providing information, being kind of seen, building yourself up as an expert, providing free resources. I feel like that kind of putting that out there, I feel like it always eventually comes back for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then those are the people who they may not hire you, but they're in a conversation with somebody else and they go, oh, I know this lady, like I took this class. Really nice.
Yeah.
And that's how it continues to build. It's just it's that networking, always networking.
Right. Well, perfect. So if we don't have any more questions,
we've answered everybody's questions.
We've talked. I know you've had some great advice for people, and I do just want to share my screen quickly and throw up this slide. Let's see. So you're kind of seeing a little bit of my, anyway, so Learning Lab information for Kimberly here. I've started my business. Now I have questions about running my business. You can go to the link here to find out more information about that. It's in February. And again, the early bird pricing for that ends 12/31. I'm also happy to schedule a time to talk with anybody who's not currently a member and just wants to kind of learn more about what Photo Managers offers and what the potential is for starting a business and starting this as a career. So you can use that link, photomanagers.com/talk, and we will find a time to get on the phone together. And also, I just a quick plug for Kathy's book here, Photo Organizing Made Easy. If you just want to kind of tackle your own photos, Kathy Nelson, our founder, has a great book that is just a very high level look at kind of all the aspects of a project. And you can find that at photomanagers.com/book. So that is kind of all the info I wanted to share. Kimberly, it was so nice to chat with you. I love your perspective and the fact that it's just all about really keeping your brain active, and it's okay to not know things. And I love that advice of just feeling uncomfortable and being okay with feeling uncomfortable, and just knowing that starting a business is hard, absolutely hard. And if photo organizing was easy, everybody would be doing it, but nobody's doing it. We know this because everybody needs our services. So it is, I'm not going to say it's an easy path to starting a business and starting a business in such a kind of, tech heavy field with so many options. But that's what, colleagues are here to help, and we've got lots of support and resources. So it's definitely possible and fun, so fun, but just, definitely challenging too, but it's good for the brain. So
fun and challenging can be the same thing sometimes.
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely.
and my website, visualstorymedia.co. If you want to go on there, you can get a perspective of kind of the different things that you could offer. And there's not a right way or a wrong way. It's just there's another way. And Kate's an incredible resource. Incredible.
Thank you. So well, I'm happy to chat with anybody who wants more details, and actually, if you're a member as well and want to just talk through things, I'm always happy to talk. That's what I do, membership director. So we can find a time to talk. That link is good for anybody. So I love chatting with members and seeing where they're at and seeing how we can, what resources we can kind of point them to. So Kimberly, you are one of those wonderful resources. We really appreciate you, and we're excited for this learning lab, and wish you all the best over the holidays. Thank you guys for taking this time. I know it's a busy season, and taking this time to listen to this webinar. Wishing you all the best with kind of last minute client projects. We're probably all wrapping those up. And if you're not currently a member, we'd love to welcome you. And if you've got questions, please reach out. So thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon. Take care.